What up? Man, this is an important video right here. This is an important video. How track and field saved my life. How track and field saved my life. Man, let me just paint this picture for you. Okay? Let me paint this picture for you. Growing up, I was I was a happy kid, but I was kind of a sickly kid in a lot of ways. I had pretty bad asthma. I used to get these migraines. I still actually get migraines occasionally, but I used to get these migraine headaches where I would lose part of my vision for a period of time. Um, I I got Crohn's disease when I was 14. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, so I also had a stutter, like a pretty bad stutter as a kid. Um, kind of an anxious kid, a little bit insecure, and yeah, like I said, when I was 14, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So I started running when I was a sophomore in high school. Started running track and field. Well, I started doing cross country when I was a sophomore. I had done track and field previously, um, but I hadn't really taken it too serious. You're just a kid. You're just trying to like. I did swimming. I played football. I mean, but I was about 100 pounds, soaking wet and tall and gangly, and I had Crohn's disease, so that wasn't helping the situation out at all. But I was an insecure kid, so track and field came along at a time in my life when I really needed something. I really needed something that was going to kind of boost my self perception because, truthfully, I didn't feel too great about myself at the time. Um, I was good in school, but it doesn't really matter if you're good in school. I mean, it matters, it matters to some extent, but it's not like they don't really give you big ups if you're good. Like if you get a 98 on your Spanish test, or when you're that age. Uh, so I sort of saw myself as my perception of myself at the time was that I was a sick kid. I didn't see myself as a winner. I didn't see myself as a champ. Um, I think there was a part of me that did. There was a this. It's funny because I think within all of us, in general, there's a part of us that sees ourselves as a champion and a part of us that sees ourselves as a loser. And I would say at that time, the loser voice was the one that was kind of winning the battle, right? So yeah, man, I started running, and I pretty much like got serious about it right after the initial Crohn's diagnosis. A period of time where I was very, very sick, spent some time in the hospital, and it was a bad situation. Lost a bunch of weight. I was anemic and going to the bathroom a lot, um, throwing up, all that jazz. So anyway, started training, started getting my health back, and this was really the first time that I had ever approached health and fitness with any type of seriousness. But anyway, yeah, I started running, and I was probably like the worst. I was honestly probably like one of the slowest kids on the team, if not the slowest kid on the team. So, I was bad. I was bad. But I sort of resolved in my mind I was gonna give everything to this. I sort of was like I kind of got lost in it. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm coming off of this sickness. I'm coming off of all of this physical and emotional struggle. So I'm gonna give this everything. And steadily started to get my health back. Started improving little by little. Um, and when you're fresh to the game, when you're fresh to the sport, changes happen quick, and you start improving quick. So, like within about a year or so, I had leveled up to a certain extent, and it was like with every time that I would improve, it just fed this fire inside of me, this desire to become better and better, um, and to make the people around me better. That was, I always tried to do that to the best of my ability at the time. I tried to do that. So anyway, my junior year, I had a strong season, solid improvements throughout. And then my senior year, I put in a lot of work going into that year. Put in a lot of solid. I mean, at the time, it seemed like it. It's funny how as you continue in the sport, your perception of what is a lot changes. But yeah, I put in a lot of hard work that season. Had a little injury right before the season, but came back. Had a great fall. Made it to the state meet. Won our sectional championships. Took 15th in our in the New York State race that I was in. Yeah, man, it was like it just changed the way that I saw myself. It changed the way that I perceived myself. Truly, like now when I look back on it, it doesn't really matter, like whether I was winning this race or like. To me now, looking back, it's just about how my self perception changed. Like, damn, man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. You go from seeing yourself as sort of weak to now all of a sudden I'm a champion. And I think that is just so powerful and so important. And it's changed the course of my life. It's changed the course of my life. I learned things about myself, and I learned things about God, and I learned things about just life, man, in general, through the sport, through the training, through the competition that I never would have learned otherwise. And I'm so grateful to God. I'm so grateful for God giving me that at that time in my life, because I desperately needed it. Went on to get a scholarship to a Division I school. Ran my 4 years there. And there were some struggles there. There were some athletic struggles there. And now when I look back on it, there were things that I could have been doing differently. But I've come to understand really that it's not running fast times and running well is it's awesome. It's an indescribable feeling. Victory is an indescribable high. It's greater than any drug. It's greater than any drug. And I'm blessed and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to taste that when I was in high school. To have it change my perception. It's funny. Like I'll look up at the sky sometimes. I'll look up at the sky, the clouds, and there's this certain time of the day where there will be scattered clouds in the sky, and the sun's going down, and the sky is pink. And whenever I see that, I'll remember this particular workout that we did leading into that sectional race that I won in the fall of my senior year. And it's funny because at that time when I was doing that workout, I looked up at the sky, and it's giving me chills just thinking about it. I looked up at the sky and I thought to myself, this is the same sky that every champion has looked at on their journey to becoming a champion, I looked up and I thought, this is the sky that God made for all of us, because I think that we can all be champions in our own way. We can all be champions. It's not a zero-sum game. Do you know what I'm saying? And that sky, it's burned into my memory now. It was cold. It was windy. I remember we were doing half miles on the track at school, and oh man, it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. It'll be with me forever. But I'm still reminded of that at times, and I'm very grateful to all the people who helped me, to all the people who were there for me, and all the teammates that I had over the years. I met some amazing, amazing people, and those people had a huge impact on me. True warriors I met. Some more so than others, but all of them in some way had an impact on me. And if you're watching this video, like there's really too many to name, but many of them were very physically gifted, and many were gifted in the soul and in the spirit. And I'm just very grateful to have crossed paths with them. So yeah, man, I'm just grateful, and I just wanted to express this. I think it's something that it's hard for me to put it into words. Like it's hard because it's with me every day. It's with me every day, and I'll never be done running. So long as the good Lord allows me to have my limbs and to have my faculties and my health, I'll never ever be done. And I believe that my best days are still ahead of me as far as training and competing. I just believe that inherently. I just believe that, and these last couple of years have been really hard. They've been really hard. They've been challenging. Being in medical school, training has been challenging, but so long as there's breath in my nostrils, man, I'm gonna be doing some form of training and some form of competition, even if it's long intervals in between races and things like that. I owe it to God, and I owe it to the sport to be involved in it in some capacity. Yeah, man, it's crazy looking back on it now, but there's a lot more still ahead. I believe that. And this is sort of like my this is kind of my proclamation, to the world and to God, that I'm sticking to it. Got some blood tests done recently. I was a little anemic, actually a lot anemic, which makes sense because things have been really steadily kind of declining for a while. And once I should have realized that earlier. It was like so simple, but right now I'm just getting things back in order, and you can trust me, I will be back, no doubt about that. And it's not for clout, it's not for fame, it's not for trying to win a certain race. It's just my spirit is, I have a warrior spirit inside of me, no question about that. There is no doubt about that. So I will be back, man. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been a part of this journey. I truly love you all. So all the coaches, all the good coaches and the bad coaches. And the good coaches, you guys know who you are. You know who you are. And my heart goes out to you. You gave me an opportunity to coach myself and be involved. And I'm very thankful for that. So that's pretty much it. Maybe there will be a part 2 to this video because there's just so much, but it's all love. It's all love. I'm very grateful to God. That's it, man. Peace. God bless.